Welcome back to Mind Over MS for another week of the podcast brought to you by Energy Over Matter. So this week, I'm thinking about taking a little detour. Instead of adding something to your routine or giving you another suggestion on what you might do to help your current state of function and health, I think that I'm going to take a lesson that I've learned myself this week, which is to stop doing and start living. So sometimes we can all get caught up in autopilot in our life and with all of the things we need to accomplish. And sometimes that's good because we have dreams, we have goals, we have responsibilities, we have things that need to be done. And it's good that we have an ability for our mind to manage us and to keep those things on track and to keep us moving forward. But much in the same way that ruminating on past things, hyper focusing on the future and the things that you need to do can really take you out of the present moment. And the present moment is where we're actually living. That is where we're connecting to our true nature. This is where we're actually getting divine inspiration. This is where we're actually marking the moments of our life, because whatever we do in the now is going to become what happens in the past. And a lot of what happens in the past gets stored in the body to become the way we predict and manifest in the future. So we want to stay in the now. So the reason why this becomes a bit personal for me this week is I am doing a lot of doing lately, and I naturally am a doer. I'm an A-type personality. I've always been someone who made lists and accomplished goals and set things out before me, which has been a benefit in my life, and I'm glad that I've been doing those things. But sometimes and we can all get caught up in the doing of life. So this week I had a lot going on. I'm getting some construction done in the front of my house, which for any of you that were in the podcast for when we were doing manifesting and vision boards, you all get a little sneak peek to the fact that some of the things on my vision board are already manifesting. So with that happening, it's a lot because I'm working at home, schooling at home, got the puppy at home, and the daily tasks of life to add into all of this, working with the contractor and the design and the budget and, all of the tools and the machinery going outside and the mess. So, you can get wrapped up in that. And as well, I've just recently started some new classes. So I'm trying to advertise for yoga classes and to figure out the tech side on the back end when that's not really my forte. I've done a lot of sales in my life, but I don't know how to do internet sales. So, it's a learning curve. There's a lot of frustration involved around making it work, a lot of failures because not everything I've tried is successful. So you can get really caught up in that as well too, where I'm spending a lot of hours doing it and not enjoy. And one of the things that I had thought about when I was changing career paths is if it doesn't bring joy in my life and it doesn't feel like a benefit anymore, I don't want to waste a lot of time doing it. And it's not to say that you shouldn't ever have struggles or things you need to overcome in life, because that is like a form of hormesis or a form of resiliency training, right? Some of them are physical with your body, but some are mental as well. And we definitely do need things to come up in our life that push us and failures to overcome. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have those things in your life, but if you find that you're butting up against a wall constantly with something, generally I would think that that's life telling you that that's not the right path, it's not the right thing. Where there's other things like, take for example, this podcast right now. I find this one always flows easy. I never script it. I never really have to think that much about it because it comes naturally out of me to you, because I'm living this life right now with MS, with trying to recover, with navigating what might work, what won't, changing my mind when something fails or, when something new comes to light, much like you're going to be doing on your path. And so this to me feels right because I'm flowing and things are just happening. But sometimes we start to get caught up in the doing, and I feel like I've done that this week. And as a result of that, I can feel that there is a bit of MS aggravation. So some things like the cold temperature of my feet has returned, a little bit of vertigo, just like a general malaise and tiredness, just not feeling quite up to the same amount of tasks that I was accomplishing in a day before. And part of that is, maybe a mental block too, because if you're not doing something that brings you joy and that you find a creative process in, Maybe your body's just like not cooperating, right? It's just saying, I don't really think so, which is a lot what I think MS is in general too, is that we have too many undigested emotions. We have too many toxicities, and our body is really saying like, enough is enough. Stop and listen to me. I need attention. And I feel like that in doing this with you, I want you to understand these valuable lessons as I'm learning them. And I've learned this week again that I need to slow down. I need to stop. I need to listen to my body. So I'm going to go back to the things that always just come natural to me. So one is talking to you right now, and then the other one is meditations. So for me, meditating was the very first thing I did when I got diagnosed with MS. I booked a naturopathic doctor and I started to meditate at a Zen Buddhist temple. That was 15 years ago. And I just knew that that was right for me. And like I've told you in the past, I went on and off that path slightly as life came up and I started doing. So, career went in, another baby went in, divorce happened, things happen in your life and you kind of fall off track a little bit. Every time I would get sick, I would center back to myself and be like, okay, meditating. Hopefully this time around for me, my relapse has been severe enough and scared me enough that the meditation never fails me. And I hope that I can inspire that in you as well, because it really is a way to ground yourself back into where you need to be. So this week I decided, you know what, I'm not going to do any PEMF videos. I'm not going to work on any of my yoga stuff. Even though I do have a class coming up, and so I know it's not really a good idea maybe to put it on hold because I do need to get advertising before class start date. But if I lose my health again, then I'm no good to myself, my family, or to any of the people I'm trying to help with this project. So regardless of whether I don't get as much enrollment or whether I have to postpone or whatever the result of that is, I'm going to stop and listen to myself. So I decided this week, okay, plug back in. And the best way to do that is to center yourself through meditation. So I sat a lot of days meditating. And if any of you will remember from the video about natural laws and helping MS, it is best to meditate between the hours of 2 and 6 o'clock. So I made sure to wake up every day between those times. And when the house is quiet, between my partner going to work and my older son being up for high school, he gets up earlier. I take that moment just to myself to just meditate quietly. And while I was meditating, it's almost like I can give myself a guided meditation on the spot as I'm sitting there. Because I do like to give my mind sometimes, especially when you have a lot of chaos going on. So when you're really busy and you've got the monkey mind and it's jumping from task to task, sometimes guided meditations or ones where you listen to music, mantras, anything with counting your breath, things where it gives that frontal cortex something to focus and a task to do. Well, the subconscious can do the relaxation and the deep stillness and to be divinely inspired, because you never know, all of that meditating could provide an idea that I needed to accomplish the other things that I just wasn't thinking about because my mind was busy all over the place. So anyway, over the week, I did a meditation and it kind of came together in 2 or 3 days where I was thinking about what I needed to really energize my body again, to really bring me back into where my spirit is really the guiding force again. And so that meditation, I thought, you know what, actually, what an easy thing to do then as a project this week, because I've already done the meditation myself and it's already been effective for me because I feel much more grounded and back in focus, sleeping easier. And that kind of, I don't want to call it tinnitus or even vertigo, but that kind of like a humming energy that sometimes I feel around my head when things get scattered. It's almost like instead of the energy coming into your chakra system through your crown, it's kind of scattered all over the place. And I can kind of tune into that sometimes now, where I can feel this kind of like energy that's kind of like, instead of being in me, it's kind of around me. So anyway, that meditation, I did record this one, and instead of including it in my meditation course, which I'm working on as another project right now, I thought, you know what, this one I'm going to just put onto YouTube. And I'll just put that under my general channel, Energy Over Matter. So when I post this, I will have already posted that, hopefully. So I'll link it in the notes for this video. So if you want to go and try that meditation out as well, I welcome you to do that. And that's one of those ones that you can just subscribe to my channel. If that helps, you can come back and just do that meditation over and over, because it's not one that you can only have a benefit doing one time. That could be a daily one you work in, or just whenever you feel the need to kind of come back together. So that's my week this week, is instead of focusing only on the difficult things that need to be accomplished and continuing to just scatter my effort and my energy in a million directions, I decided to come back into my body, to focus, to do the things that come naturally and that flow easily. Because once the flow is back open in life, you energize again. You really do. And that's what that meditation is about, is once you kind of open yourself to that vital life force, which we all live in and we are all part of. Once we tap into that, we can re-energize ourselves, and we can now use our mind, which is a tool, right? The mind doesn't control us. A mind was a tool that was manifested by consciousness, much like the body was. These are tools and instruments that our consciousness is using to navigate in the world. And we can wear them down sometimes, like we do in our body physically, but we can also allow them to control us. So we can become scattered in our mind. And when the mind starts to control and direct into the body, the disease manifests, and also disease can become aggravated. And your frequency is just off. So you're not resonating anymore with your true self. You're just kind of at the whim of all of the things around you, and you're just kind of being carried along for the ride. And that's not really where you want to be. You want to be divinely inspired, and you want to be effective and efficient in any action you take. So you don't want to just be making actions all around you just because you feel frenzied that you need to act on these things today. You want whatever effort you put into these things to be thoughtful, to be correct, and to not be so attached to the outcome of it that when it doesn't work out, that you keep pushing and pushing hard and trying to get that thing to work out. You want to be centered enough in yourself that if that one thing is getting a lot of resistance and you're getting pushback and it's not really quite working, then pull back and decide, like, maybe that's not the right thing. Maybe something else is going to serve me better and serve my purpose better. That's another lesson of yoga, right? Is to be willing to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So we're not attaching to these things. So if you're getting a lot of resistance, maybe pull back a little bit and reassess and take some time to think about it. And even if that delays whatever it is you're doing, when you come back to it, you're likely to come back to it with a fresh perspective, with some new creative ideas on problem solving. And it's more likely to be effective and to get you results instead of just making you fatigued. So I'm going to leave it at that, because again, like I said, the whole point of this week is to stop doing and to start living. So I encourage you to start living your life too. And if that means that you are, finding that you have too many routines you're adding into your day on top of your busy life to try to get ahead, maybe pull back on that a little bit too and reassess which ones are really resonating with me, which ones are working. What is really making me feel excited to do them. If there's something that's coming in your life and you're feeling like, I really dislike doing it, much like for me, like the cold showers. I really am not a fan of that, even though I do the hypoxic breathing from Wim Hof. I don't always do the cold showers, and I skip it because I think, well, if I'm really going to hate it and it's going to really, be unpleasant for me, what benefit am I really getting out of it if I'm not like fully engaged with it and wanting to do it and bringing joy again to it? So with that being said, I'm just going to make it short and sweet this week. So check out the meditation if you feel so inclined. There'll be more meditations like that coming down the pipeline. So subscribe to my channel if you haven't already to get more content, both here on Mind Over MS, which is focusing not just on MS, but for anyone that's trying to find ways to overcome any health issues. But on my general channel, I cover yoga, PEMF, which for those of you that don't know, pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, which is just like an adjunct I think that people should add in if they're just struggling with their regeneration and healing and their cellular energy. But at the same time that we're doing any of those kinds of add-ins, we want to really be getting our mindset right and our actions and behaviors right, because no matter what amount of energy you add into the system, if you scatter it all about again and you make terrible decisions, that energy is going to be wasted again. So we want to make sure that we're centering our mind first so that we can make proper, good decisions for ourselves, thoughtful, effective actions. And then we can think about adding in things like supplements and, exercise and PEMF, or maybe you found ozone, or there's some other treatments that you're working with, hyperbaric oxygen. Any of these other things are kind of add-ons, but you got to get the basic building blocks right. So enjoy this week, be blessed, have a blessed life. and hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Namaste.